Welcome to a terrible wrestling show, episode 6 for Elimination Chamber 2025. Got a couple of the boys here with me. We have John with his camera working. This is a plot twist. John, how are you?
I am doing okay. This is probably gonna be more of a low energy show, just because
Agreed.
I'm not a big fan of Elimination Chamber.
Actually, I'm glad you said that because I'm going to actually pose a question about that here in a moment. Shane, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Just chilling. I'm actually excited for the Elimination Chamber just because I think of not even for the matches really, but for the storylines that could happen in between the matches.
Oh, yeah, the branching storylines that can get created.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. But my question is, because John just said he's not a big fan of Elimination Chamber. What are you guys' thoughts on the gimmick of Elimination Chamber? Is this one that needs to get put to bed? Because like it is a cool gimmick, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't feel super special. Even though we have the PLE for it and everything, but I don't know. It doesn't make me jump out of my seat like some other gimmick PLEs. I mean, like, what are your overall thoughts on the Elimination Chamber itself?
I mean, I like the idea, right?
I think we can all agree the
of,
idea is
of
good. Yeah.
but I think where they mess up is having the Royal Rumble winners announced too soon.
Oh, like having Elimination Chamber too close to the Rumble.
Yeah, and I was watching, and I know I'm cheating on a terrible wrestling show. Fucking sue me. But I was watching a
Don't actually.
podcast. Yeah, I was watching another podcast, and they brought it up as well. It was actually I think it was Santi and
Is it Wrestling is Cool podcast?
yeah.
Shout out.
Um, and I believe it was Santi that said it, and I agree. I think they should make a period to where you can't announce immediately after or soon after. You have to wait until after the Elimination Chamber to announce, or there is a PLE that is put in between, right? Maybe it's a smaller PLE, but to where the Royal Rumble winner and the Elimination Chamber winner will main event that PLE, and the winner will get to choose first, and then it kind of goes from there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Where it just makes it more of a build up, right?
I feel like you would to do that. You would have to have the Rumble and Elimination Chamber be pretty close though. If you were going to go with a who gets to pick first thing.
I mean, they're only what 3.5
Yeah,
weeks
they're really not
separate
far
right now?
apart. Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this: like, do you think the Elimination Chamber would benefit not being before WrestleMania? I know it's been there forever, but like, do you think it'd be beneficial as a PLE to be later on in the year and just be like whoever wins the Elimination Chamber gets a title shot, or have the champion as part of the Elimination Chamber like it has in the past?
Honestly, I'm I might be in the minority here, but Elimination Chamber sits in the same category for me currently as like War Games, where I don't get excited for it. Like I'm not necessarily I'm not looking forward to like the Elimination Chamber matches necessarily. Like I'm more interested in like the 2 weeks of Raw and SmackDown after the Elimination Chamber. Like after the show happens, I'm more interested in what happens there than I am on this show.
Right.
And it's like Elimination Chamber, it's not my favorite gimmick. I think if you want to keep the Elimination Chamber around, it doesn't need to tie into WrestleMania. I think it needs to just be. It could like you could move it to a different time of year, mix it up a bit, have the champion in there like you said, or like give them like the whoever ends up winning Elimination Chamber gets a title shot, but not necessarily at WrestleMania. It's like because if you're gonna do both the Rumble and Elimination Chamber, it's gotta like depending on whichever one happens first, you pretty much know who they're gonna challenge. So that it's like, okay, well, the eliminate like this year's a little different because we have the whole Cena tour, so like we got a lot more big names in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if this wasn't like Cena's retirement year, and we already knew that like Jay was gonna challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, well then it's like, okay, well, who are the people that could challenge Cody? And it's like it's basically just gonna be big names thrown in there with like one or two potential winners.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I'm also, like I said, not the biggest fan of the stipulation, but I would move it away from Mania and not have like a title shot for the winner at Mania be part of it at all.
Yeah. I will say that the complicated part about moving it away from Mania, which I think could be a good thing because it could add like excitement and value to the Elimination Chamber. Because I'm with you. It's like the stipulation. I mean, it can be really entertaining, right? Like there are elements about it that can be really entertaining, but at the same time, it's just like, I mean, it's whatever. It's just a glorified Hell in the Cell. That's what all it is. It's extreme glorified Hell in the Cell. But it's like they've tried moving the Elimination Chamber out from that spot and replaced it with just a basic PLE, and that PLE always sucked being Fastlane. That was Fastlane's spot was February to lead us to WrestleMania. So it's like you got to have something there. Like I feel like there's probably someone out there that's screaming from the rooftop of their rooftops of hot take. There should be no other PLE after the Rumble before Mania. That is a bit of a hot take, but I mean you got to put something there. I just don't know what it would be.
I would almost rather like not necessarily like, I mean, because yeah, Fastlane's historically not a good show.
Yeah,
But it's like put something there, and it's like you don't have to try to put like big matches on or necessarily gimmicky matches. Why don't we get some of the stuff that we don't see? Like like we could have like build up a tag title storyline and have that be on like a smaller show before it, because like we're going into this one in our tag match. This one is like a throwaway match.
oh, 100%.
It's like, I mean, if you wanted to keep Elimination Chamber around, just shuffle it back a couple months, have it before Rumble, because it's like if we're gonna have, especially like with Cody as champion right now, he's defending the belt on almost every PLE. It's like, why not have Elimination Chamber just at some other time of the year and either have the champion in it or just have them get a title shot at a different big show.
Right.
What about this? What about if you switch? I mean, I know it'd still be around each other, but what about if you switch it, right? The Rumble is the last PLE before WrestleMania, and then you have Elimination Chamber in, late January, and still change the stipulations to where whoever wins the Elimination Chamber still can't announce who they're going to go after until after the Rumble. And then maybe you don't even have to have another PLE. Just do it on a SmackDown on Raw. Have the men announce on a Raw and have the women announce on a Friday Night SmackDown, like a week or two before WrestleMania. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I think in my opinion, at some points after the Elimination Chamber, there is some kind of like dead zone. Now we're not gonna have that this year just because you've got so many other stuff going on with like Cena's retirement and other things like that. But I mean, I know from previous years, especially when I was, a teenager, like I stopped watching after the Elimination Chamber and then kind of picked back up like a week before WrestleMania because during that time it's just a dead time. It's just the same stuff that's been repeated over the last month and a half, 2 months, just kind of reiterating itself. And I think if you do that, then it kind of brings life into those Monday Night Raws and those Friday Night SmackDowns, especially in the middle, in between, like the right after and right before, right? That second week of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown right before WrestleMania.
See, the only thing that I think of with your pitch. Number one, I actually like the idea of the Rumble being the last PLE before Mania. But like that's also why I feel like having it in January and then Mania in like April, that's way too much of a gap. You got to have something, right? But like I do like the idea of Rumble being the last thing before Mania. I really do. But the idea of like someone winning and having to wait, I get it, and I like the idea of the two like battling on a Raw or SmackDown, to decide who gets to pick first. But at the same time, it's like we as viewers and the audience, like we know who everyone's gonna pick, right? So it's like how much is there anticipation? I feel like it'd be very rare years where you don't know who someone's gonna pick, right? Like, but 9 times out of 10, you're just like, oh yeah, Jay's gonna pick Gunther. Yeah,
I
all right,
mean, I
easy.
mean, I agree, but and what I think all of us, if not two of the three of us, figured that Charlotte Flair was gonna pick
That is the
Tiffany.
closest one to being, who's it going to be? But we
But
all knew it
but
was Tiffy
it
time.
could it and but the thing is, and what's interesting, it could cause some mayhem, right? Because then you can maybe toss in, like, for instance, like Braun Breaker could have come up to Jey Uso and been like, hey, I've made this Intercontinental Championship way more than Gunter has, like, yada yada yada. Like, there could be a lot more time to branch into other championships to kind of throw in a pitch like, hey, you're gonna want to challenge me at WrestleMania because of this, because of that. um I just think it could add a lot more,
I also think with just like proper writing, if they did the whole stipulation of you have to wait until both are done kind of thing, is like with proper writing, they could very easily tease you one way one week and tease you another way another week, whatever. I mean, I think that could be done because like the idea with waiting until both are done, I see the value in it because like it feels like Elimination Chamber is a secondary prize. Like it's like even though yes, in this case it's like not what is deemed the secondary title. In this case it'd be like let's say for the for really for both of them on it. No, for the men's really. The men's one, that's the primary title. We know that. So it's like it doesn't feel like a secondary prize, but last year it did. Like, look, World Heavyweight Championship, it's great. Seth had a great run establishing the title, but we can all agree it's still the secondary title, right? So it's like the elimination chamber, like whoever's going to win that to go after the champion that wasn't picked. It just feels like the secondary prize. So I can see the value in having you know, the winner of the Rumble or the winner, or, let's say the winner of the Rumble, since that's first currently, having to wait until after the Chamber. At least it adds a little bit more value to both champions. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm still like, I don't like the. I'm not a big fan of like two PLEs like deciding the two people who are gonna challenge the champions. I would rather like the Rumble, like just have the Rumble. They get to pick whichever champion they want to go against. And honestly, I would prefer like a tournament or like hell, it would be better for like deciding who was gonna go after the next person. It's like just announce a gauntlet match to or something like that to like a big like go long match that you could run to basically decide who's going after the next title or the other title, and you could have. I mean that could be 2 hours of like a 2.5 hour show of just people constantly coming in and fighting for the title. I would rather see that than 6 people in an elimination chamber that like 4 of them are there just because they're big names, and two of them are actual competitors, or 2 of them could actually win the match.
Now, with that kind of idea, would you like to see that translate to a PLE? Call the PLE like Iron Gauntlet or whatever.
I don't necessarily like. I don't want a PLE named after it. It's like you could do, like think of like a big gauntlet match one year, and then the next year like you have 3 weeks where it's like Raw and SmackDown. It's just all it is tournament matches for men and women to like work their way up into like the main event of a PLE being like a fatal 4-way or something of people of like 4 guys who've won the match, and then like a match where you have 4 women who've won their qualifying matches to get into it, and then like you just have one big match with like 4 kind of unique people. Like you could have like 1 or 2 established people and a couple up and comers, so you actually have 4 people that could conceivably win.
Right.
I would be more. That would be my personal preference, is to have, because then you have a continuing story leading out of just like 2-week build to Elimination Chamber, and then from there it's just all we're gonna have is like 5 weeks of promos back and forth between the people who are challenging for the titles.
I mean, I like it. Just me personally watching, like, they throw so many tournaments out during the year. Like, tournaments just kill me. I'm gonna be honest. Like the first,
I feel like you like. I like the idea a lot. I feel like you just have to add that unique twist to it.
The problem is, like, in the last year, like the tournaments we've gotten tournaments for like the inaugural women's mid card belts, which were, I mean, on the Raw side, pretty good, and on like the SmackDown, or I think that's reversed. The SmackDown side was pretty good, and the Raw side was kind of like, well, you have 2 names in here who could win this, but we just got to go through like 4 weeks of matches for it. Like 4 of those tournament matches, especially like on the men's side, they've got a ton of like upper mid card, lower main event guys that could all be fighting like for titles, or like fighting for their shot in there. And I mean, right now there's like 6 guys who don't have belts that honestly I could see a belt going on at any point in time.
yeah, and I think we talked about that a little last show. Is that there's so much talent on the men's side right now that there's so many people that deserve chances.
Yeah, but that's the main thing. Is like the tournaments we've gotten are for like belts or prizes that like WWE themselves have kind of shown to not mean anything so far.
I think we should do a secondary rumble. But it'd be us all 30 men in the ring at one time and just fucking go at it.
Oh, battle royale then.
Yeah, just make it a battle royal and just do it that way. Solve issues.
That's a Saudi show thing.
No,
I'm just trying to think of ways to like kind of put Elimination Chamber to the side for a bit, because honestly, in my opinion, Elimination Chamber kind of needs to disappear and be given the Hell in the Cell treatment that we got like this past year.
Right.
And another reason why me personally I like where Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble is, because from a person that watched sports before I started watching wrestling, I see it a kind of like a playoff area, right? To where it's like supposedly the best of the best is gonna come out of this ready to fight for the championships. So that's why I personally would like to keep. Maybe you can move them around, but I like to keep the Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble.
Well, it's kind of the
right
same.
Next to each other.
It'd be the same thing almost if you just replace the Elimination Chamber with like because they're already having to qualify for it, so you could just do away with the stipulation, because all this, it's like Elimination Chamber is just the stipulation right now, and like I said, I don't like the stipulation right now because it's just.
What about John? What do you think about bringing back like if I'm not mistaken, the TLC?
That is one of my favorite pay-per-views I'd love to see come back. The only issue...
Bring back the TLC pay-per-view to where...
Like, the only thing I see as an issue of that one coming back for, like, up to Mania is, like, in my opinion, like, I'm not a wrestler by any means. I feel like there's a lot more injury chance with the TLC pay-per-view than Elimination Chamber. So that's the only issue that I have with it.
I mean, but then again, we see fucking people jumping off the top of the chambers. So, man, it's like, regardless, I think you're going to see potential injury.
It's always possible. It's always possible. I just feel like with a TLC match,
but it's definitely
or a ladder match, it opens up a lot more possibilities for injuries. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
a
that,
lot
The
more
only
unknowns.
yeah,
the only thing I would see there is like I wouldn't necessarily see like a TLC going into it because I mean for the like for what like regardless there's probably going to be a multi-man ladder match at Mania for one of the mid-card belts.
probably
It's like that's probably going to happen. Last year it was the tag belts. This year I could honestly see it being
United States, 100%.
United. Yeah, I would rather it see United States and like Intercontinental because Intercontinental scene is really good right now.
Yeah, U.S. title scene is non-existent,
The U.S. title scene right now is
which
it's
sucks
just LA Knight.
because I love Shinsuke Nakamura and they've done nothing with him, and it's just like, bruh.
But it's like
Yeah, I don't know if that's a writing error on the writer's part or if that's a Shinsuke kind of thing because he's only defended the title like what, one time
Has he
since he's
even
had
done
it.
that?
If
I
that.
don't even know if he's
And
done
at,
that. I don't have no. I think he
and
might
at
have
that,
done
in
that.
my opinion, he didn't even deserve the title anyways.
That was a weird
But
time to take it off LA Knight, but
yeah,
because I think they took the title off him to give it back to Shinsuke for like his return,
yeah,
and it's just been so that he could hold on to it to lose it to LA Knight again. I bet.
yeah, which is silly, but whatever. It's like that awkward. It's dude, like legit. Like you guys correct me if I'm wrong. LA Knight getting that title taken off him for Shinsuke, and let's go ahead and assume that it's going to go back on LA Knight. LA Knight take it from Shinsuke at Mania. Like, there's a longer gap from when LA lost it to Mania than the gap I'm about to reference. But doesn't it just feel like that awkward little time period when CM Punk's run was about to get white fucking hot, and they're like, nah, give it to Alberto Del Rio. Punk can get it again in like 2 months. Like, it's like the same
yeah.
damn thing. Because that's what happened back then is that Punk won it. He beat John Cena once, after the whole contract thing, and officially beat Cena. Punk's the champion. Alberto gets the title. Alberto has it for like two months, and then Punk gets it again. And it's like then Punk's run starts. It almost feels like that, legit, verbatim.
It really does. And then also another thing is like I thought maybe they were taking it off LA Knight because he was just as hot as Jay was at the time. And I was like, okay, well now they're gonna push LA Knight to that a major title push. But now they've just kept him in this US title hunt, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, for an example of like taking the belt off somebody when they're hot for like a short period of time, you got a more recent example
You're
of
right.
Jey Uso taking the Intercontinental Championship
Yeah.
off Braun Breaker for no reason.
You're right. I forgot about
other
that.
than to give him a singles title before they did War Games.
You're totally right. I forgot all about that. that came and went so quick. That was like what, 35-day run?
It was 3 weeks.
Yeah, stupid.
It was like
But
27 days or something.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're right. That is a more recent example. Good point. So stupid. It's like they can't really figure out the whole mid card title scene besides like that historic run for Gunther. You know what I mean? They can't really figure it out.
I mean, I'm gonna throw a hot take or potential hot take out there for just for something to do this year. I think we need to kind of hot potato this World Heavyweight Championship around a little bit this year.
Ooh, like the old days.
It's like it needs to bounce around a little bit. People can have like a month-long run or a 3-month run or something. It's like you wanna show people like elevated up the card a little bit and like be able to bounce back and forth between like mid card and like lower main event scene. I would put the World Heavyweight title on LA Knight for a month
Yeah.
See,
because
Sami
still
Zayn
gets
deserves
like
one too.
he still gets the crazy reactions. Everybody's still like likes seeing him come out. Everybody still likes his promos. Give him a month long run and a couple like towards the middle of the year or something. Like let Jay have his time if he takes it off Gunther, which I fully expect to happen.
Yeah.
And then it's like you can kind of bounce it between some of these lower main event guys who, I mean, honestly, all kind of deserve a title, but also there's nothing. It's like there's nothing wrong with like some shorter reigns, and not everybody needs to have a year-long reign. Not everybody's a Cody Rhodes. Not everybody's a Gunther.
I think they should do that with both of them, especially both of the men's titles. And I think they need to kind of go back to a format like it kind of used to be. I don't know how long it lasted because I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of off and on with watching it. But like, you have a match, the title changes hands, and the person that loses the title would have to, fight through the mid card. He'd probably win a mid card title, hold it for, a month or two, lose it, but then guess what? Be reintroduced into the contendership for the next one or for the big major title again. You're not seeing a lot of ladder play, right?
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I was an advocate for taking the belt off Cody Rhodes 6 months ago for like a month or a 3-month period. I've backtracked on that now. I'd have him hold the title until Money in the Bank, and then then he can lose it, and then we can have a little bit of hot potato around then towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think the hot potato one could start with him around Money in the Bank. Maybe a little bit sooner, because I think this potential heel turn is gonna come sooner than later for Cody Rhodes. I think if they were to ever take the title off of him, he may sell his soul to The Rock to get it back and go on that kind of heel turn, kind of like the Authority kind of thing. Or
I've got my pick for who's taking the deal.
Or maybe be a Paul Heyman guy, So, but then again, also, I've seen this on some Reddit threads. I would love to see the Heyman guys come together as a faction. So you have CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar just in a faction together, just tearing shit up.
Yeah. There's another wrestling podcast I listen to, Wrestle Talk. It was pitched to have a Paul Heyman guy's faction. I think they talked about it like towards the end of last year or like maybe the beginning of the year. He called it the Wise Guys faction.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great.
You guys want to get into the card a little bit?
Yeah, I was gonna throw something out there. So like I was, you guys were talking about title coming off and getting a little bit of hot potato and stuff like that, and it got me thinking about something where it's just like we've talked about on this show, and like I know John and I have talked privately about this, where it's just like the saying, I don't think WWE knows who's going to take that title off Cody. You know what I mean at this time, but at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking about it. It's like, what if we are going to kind of re-enter that era where titles could get hot potatoed and you just don't see Reigns, like a Roman Reigns? That one is historical, or even like what a CM Punk was, where it was over fully over a year and a half. Because like a good example, so I got curious because I knew it wasn't like that many. I was looking up through all the WWE championships for in history and looking at the days. Specifically, I was looking for John Cena's reigns. He's only had 2 of his reigns that actually crossed 100 days, and only one of them crossed 300, which was his longest reign back in 06, where it went for 380 days. His first reign went for 280, and then the one after he beat The Rock was like 133. Like most of his reigns weren't really that long because there were so many, and like you look at the people that took it off of him. Like here's a John Cena title run that lasted 21 days. Who took it off? Randy Orton. All right, yeah, makes sense. Who took it off? Randy. John Cena. Last 49 days. Who took that off? John Cena. An up and coming hot shot of Sheamus. All right, well that makes sense at the time and the era that it was. And then John Cena had it for a single night at Elimination Chamber, and then guess what? Batista took it off. Okay, well yeah, that makes sense too. So it's like you're looking at the trade-off between everyone, the nonstop back and forth. And it's like,
and I think,
what if we're getting back to that because of how stacked we are right now?
And that's what I was saying, kind of like last episode, right? There was a period in time where the titles didn't mean shit, and now they've built these titles up so well with Cody and Gunther and Seth Rollins and especially Roman Reigns that now you need those titles to build your roster. because you have so much talent right now. You kind of need it to go to that, to where you do have a chance of building this roster to where more people know these names, because you do have a stacked roster, especially on the men's side, to where you do need those 1 month, 2 month, 3 month runs to where the title's constantly changing to build the roster up, because we've
Right.
spent so much time. We spent the last 4 years, 5 years building those titles up back to where they need to be, as far as like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I there needs to be some hot potato going on.
Well, I would clarify, but I want a hot potato the World Heavyweight Championship.
I know.
And it's like around Money in the Bank is what I would say Cody could lose the title, somewhere around there.
Right.
And depending on who takes it off him, because like for the WWE Championship, there's like 3 or 4 guys right now that I say are like actual contenders for it. World Heavyweight Championship is like 8 guys that
Right.
I'd be perfectly fine having that belt. But yeah, I would have hot potato the World Heavyweight Championship, and then towards the end of the year, I wouldn't mind bouncing around the WWE title, specifically to like bring in storylines for John Cena.
I can see that.
And especially like, another reason is, well, it just left me. I was literally talking and it left me.
Gone.
Just
It's
out
in
of
the
there.
chamber.
Yeah, I'll come back to it.
All right, let's talk about the chamber. Let's go ahead and just shout out the tag match, because that's going to be a squash fest, but it's going to be a fun squash fest. So I mean, shout out to it, I guess.
I mean, Tiffany Stratton, Trish Stratus. This will be
A quick squash, not a quick squash. It'll be a fun squash, a fun, easy dub.
This will be like a 7-minute highlight reel.
Yeah, it'll just be fun. I mean, Trish from Toronto, PLE in Toronto. It's just gonna be a good time. That's all it is. So shout out to it. Now, go ahead.
I remembered. So real quick before we move on, another reason why I think it needs a hot potato is to make these long runs mean something down the line.
Oh, that's fair.
Right. And especially
when
with
they happen
Gunther,
again.
with 90% of his title run, I mean, his time in the WWE holding a title, we need that to mean something down the road.
So
if everybody's going on these 200, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if everybody's going on these 200, 300 day runs, it kind of diminishes those runs before it, you know.
Right. I can see that. Though I will say the titles that I think need strong, long runs consistently, I think are the mid-card titles, because they are mid-card, and if you have quick runs for a lot of those guys, the titles just kind of lose a lot of value. But for the main titles, those long runs need to only happen every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Now, the long runs we've had, those make sense. It was Roman, makes sense. Cody now having the long run after Roman, makes sense. Seth's long run, first champion, got to establish a title. There's no one else better to do it than Seth. Makes sense. But now that, once we kind of get past Cody, yeah, let's make those long runs for the main 2 titles. Let's make those a little bit more rare.
Yeah, like for the top guys, Cody, I'm glad he's got a long run. I want to see it continue for several more months. Gunther, man, the problem is they finally got back to Gunther being a dominant self, and he's about to lose the belt.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But I mean, look at it this way: if he loses to Mania towards the end of the year, he could be in contention for WWE Championship for a 2-month run.
True.
And then like him losing to some of those top guys wouldn't hurt him, because they're the top guys for a reason.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. Speaking of a couple of guys who deserve a title run, you guys excited for this unsanctioned match with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens? I think it's going to be the main event. 100%. It's going to be the main event.
I don't think it's going to be the main event.
Really? Okay.
I think men's chamber match is going to take main event spot, but this the Sami Kevin match, This is the like bingo match on the card I'm excited for.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match.
Can we just
Right.
can we all as a collective, like us here on a Terrible Wrestling Show and the wrestling community, just give these guys their damn flowers? Because no matter how many damn times these two guys cross paths and stab each other in the back, it's still
They always
always
cook.
so damn good.
They always cook.
Dude, every time you'd think it'd get old at this point, but it's so good every time.
It just gets better.
It
Somehow
really
it just
does.
gets better.
Give these guys their damn flowers, man. So I don't know. With them being Canadian guys in Toronto, that's the only reason I could see it being it'll either be the men's chamber or this will be this. Those two will be the final two. Well, maybe not. I don't know. One of those will be the main event.
I think, I was gonna say I think this is gonna go third on the card, but then I don't. I think they're gonna alternate, so I think it'll go like women's chamber, then probably this match into the tag match, and then the men's chamber.
I could see that being the layout.
I would personally prefer this to be the main event but that's just because this is the match I'm excited for.
Right.
I think this is by far gonna be the best match on the card.
I think it's going to be a damn good match. This is the one thing I'm super excited for. Like the chamber matches, I'm very curious. And like Shane said earlier, I'm excited about all the branching storylines that can come out of them, right? But Sammy and Kevin, man, I love these guys. A couple of my favorite wrestlers, and again, give them their flowers because no matter how many times we repeat this damn storyline of one betraying the other, which is usually just Kevin, obviously. It's still just so damn entertaining. So I'm looking forward to this. Now, talking about the chamber, which one do you guys want to talk about first? Because they're both vastly different conversations, I feel like.
I agree, but also
First.
I want to throw this little sprinkle into the show real quick. What do you think about Randy coming back during that unsanctioned match?
Okay, I've seen those talks, and I could see it happening
After the match.
after the match.
Not during the match, but after the match.
So it's when the match is said and done, Randy's popping in.
Well, I could agree. But I think also a thing that could maybe change that is if, at some point it kind of shifts from Sammy to Kevin gonna win it. Kevin's about to pile drive Sammy, and Randy comes out to save him. That's the only thing I could think of maybe why Randy would interrupt the match. Other than that, I agree. I think if he does come back, it is going to be at the end of the match.
Yeah.
No, like we haven't really talked winners of matches. I think this match ends with Kevin Owens hitting the package pile driver on Sammy, and then Randy's music hits, and he comes out, and it kind of sets up a match between them.
Yeah, because like the bigger picture is KO and Randy, right? Like that's the bigger picture right now, which is a very fun picture to paint, by the way. Wish we could have got Cody and Randy painted picture, but it is what it is. Either way, you got to have Kevin, come out on top to further help push that strong narrative of Kevin as being a complete menacing heel. Because he lost to Cody, that's expected though, but he still looked like $1 million, and it's going to be the same thing here. Like I feel like at this kind of like midway point to Mania, Kevin's got to come out on top, to help further push that narrative for Randy and KO. So.
Yeah. For the women's chamber match,
So fascinating.
I've been thinking about this match. I only have two people who could win the match in my head, based on like the people that are in it and storylines going on. But even then, it's kind of shifted in my head where I only really see one potential winner,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like it.
Is it Liv?
It's Liv.
Yeah.
Because let me double check who's actually in the match.
Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, because like if you look at it, you have like Bayley and Roxanne Perez. They've got their own kind of little rivalry going on. Alexa Bliss is the. Sorry, my Alexa's going off, so I'm on mute for a second.
Oh, dang
That's
it, Alexa!
hilarious. Alexa Bliss, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
it says Alexa Bliss, and his Alexa goes off.
Okay. Okay, now that's the. But
Did you
she
turn it off, or
just
you gonna
came.
call her Bliss from now on?
Yeah. Bliss is. She just came back. I don't see her immediately getting put into a title picture.
I agree.
And then, like Bianca and Naomi, like I could see Bianca potentially winning, but like they just lost the tag belts. There's gonna be some tension there, so I see them kind of canceling each other out
Right.
in the match, which unfortunately leaves Liv Morgan. Not because I don't like Liv Morgan, but because I don't want her and Rhea going back at it.
Yeah, even though
We
that
just
should have
had a
been,
year of that.
even though that should have been the Mania match, but I understand you gotta have that, Netflix big day one, that Netflix big show. I get it, but that should have been the Mania match. But now that you already had it, now it just kind of feels like, eh. So
But yeah, like this will be a fascinating match. My initial pick that I had like a week or so ago when I was talking to you, Alex, I was saying just like push Roxanne.
So, all right, listen, man. Listen, buddy. All right, listen, friendo. I am actually in the boat that I think Roxanne could legitimately win this. And you just go ahead and just start this whole new thing between Rhea and Roxanne. Let it be Rhea as this dominant champion, just making fun of Roxanne. It's like, oh, you're the new kid on the block. You're not going to do shit to me, right? And then just having a banger of a match, having the respects for both, give them their flowers. Because, like, the way my brain sees potential storylines, and obviously I think some of this will still depend on apparent injuries that are being dealt with, is that I see, number one, Jade coming back, something going down with Jade. I view Naomi and Bianca locked up with something with Jade, right? Like, that's how I view that. They're locked up there. I still am in the boat, especially now that Liv has the tag team titles. Alexa is going to be tagging with. Hopefully, your Alexa doesn't go off. Bliss is going to be end up going back to the Wyatts, and we're going to have a Judgment Day and Wyatt thing go down. A Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Liv and Raquel. You're going to have Uncle Howdy, assuming that Bo Dallas is good from whatever injury he's been dealing with. That's why they have not been on TV, is because he personally has had a little bit of an injury. Nothing major, but something. So that's where my brain goes with this. And Bayley already had her moment last year. I don't think it'll be Bayley. So my mindset is give it to Roxanne, put a rocket on her, and create a nice, like, young, dominant, vet of Rhea with the brand new kid on the block, Roxanne. That is my mindset. That would be one of the most exciting outcomes.
I agree, and only reason why I say this, and I could be wrong, because this is going to be one of the reasons why I came back to watching wrestling was because of Edge. When Edge came back during that Royal Rumble, that's kind of when I started picking it up, started watching wrestling again. So I could be wrong on this, but isn't that similar to what they kind of did with Rhea, right? Rhea was the NXT champion.
Yeah.
They kind of like skyrocketed her, and if I'm not mistaken as well, that was one of the only times that a non-major championship. Now, I guess you can count NXT Women's Championship as a major championship, but
Right.
I don't really. I still see NXT as like a training area, but
which it is.
I know it's not really that anymore.
Yeah,
but like that's the first time that the women's title or the men's major titles and the two major brands were not part of that Mania spot.
Right.
And I think it kind of got Rhea to the spot where she is now. Mm-hmm. Doing that same thing with Roxanne.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think when it comes to the women's, like, when you're looking at the women's, I could legitimately see 4 winners, right? And just them just making a storyline in some capacity. I think it's very possible. But just to me, I think the one that could make the most sense and then branch like a lot of other storylines is going to be a Roxanne winning the chamber. Because, like, with the whole Jade thing, the easy storyline that you could do here is Naomi be the one that attacked Jade, which we all think that's the case anyway, right? And have a Bianca and Jade team up versus a Bailey and Naomi team up. That way, Bailey's not left out of any equations. And everyone in the chamber here has a path to Mania, right? You got the Liv and Alexa stuff.
You're shoehorning Bailey into that. We saw in the Rumble that's a Jordan Gray spot.
That is okay. That is fair. That's gonna be a Jordan Gray spot, but Bailey's a good spot too. And only Bailey out.
Because the only problem is like if Roxanne Perez wins this, she's currently kind of feuding with Bailey, and then it kind of just leaves Bailey out to dry.
Yeah, that's the only downside. I don't want to see Bailey left out to dry. That's why you got to fit her in somewhere.
See, I would love Roxanne Perez to win this, but let me paint you a picture with just a few words here. Belt collector Liv.
True.
She got a tag belt.
True.
It's like you could give her the run back with Rhea and have her win that somehow. I mean, she's been destroyed every time they faced off without interference. But because as we've seen, Triple H loves Liv Morgan right now.
Right.
It's like Liv Morgan, and honestly, I don't dislike Liv Morgan. I just don't like that we had the feud with. She had to feud with Rhea, who wasn't on TV for a year.
Right. And another idea to think about with what you're pitching is that if you have Liv win it and beat Rhea, that further pushes the whole Judgment Day is slowly imploding storyline with Finn, acting like he's the leader when there was supposed to be no leaders. That was the whole point of the breakup with Damian. So what you're pitching could further lead that storyline too.
And then if we did that, if she did that, I mean, Rhea's been tied up with the Women's World Championship since the belt came out.
Yeah, since it switched from was it SmackDown title or whatever, or the Raw title? I don't remember.
Yeah, and then it's like,
which one was it? I'm curious.
Let her go get. I mean, honestly, when Rhea's held the belt, it's felt like a more important belt than the WWE Women's Championship.
I can see that.
But I mean, right now it's a little different. Tiffany's got it, and that's been exciting.
Yeah,
we could. It's like send Rhea over there to go after the main women's title. It's like get her away from Liv if Liv takes this title, and you could just start have Liv collecting all the women's belts.
That or a quick way to enhance your women's mid cards, have Rhea win one of them.
Yeah, it's like maybe she comes back. She's like, I lost this belt again. Put her in like, I don't know, because the women's mid card scene, there's like not a lot going on there because the women's US title, I would like
so underutilized.
I could see that going to Piper Niven, and the women's intercontinental belt. I mean, I like Lyra, but as we've seen when she comes out to have matches, nobody cares.
Mm-hmm. Which is unfortunate. So
yeah, maybe it's like, I mean, hell, one of the women that's in this match could go for one of the mid-card belts even.
I will say for the Lyra one, I fully believe that. I think the easy plot point is just to do Becky Lynch and Lyra and have Becky take it off and elevate the title. That's my personal opinion. It'll be like a similar situation when John went on his really awesome U.S. title run, X amount of years back.
Do you think that'd be like Raw after Mania? Because I don't think Becky's coming back till then.
Could see that, yeah. I did see that Becky has officially re-signed, but at this point, like if she wasn't at the Rumble, when is she going to come back? So I mean, yeah, I could see. Yeah. I could see that.
I don't expect to see her till Raw after Mania.
Yeah, I could see that. No, the women's chamber is very fascinating because of the potential storylines that can branch, and like just the winner, I think is going to catch people off guard regardless, and that's what's going to be fun about it. Meanwhile, the men's, I don't think the winner is going to catch people off guard because I think there's really only, because of how deep that WWE title, runs in the very key main plot point, the backbone of WWE. That one I don't think is going to have any extreme plot twists. You know what I mean? It's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be probably just one of two, and that's going to be it, right? Like, it's going to be a fun match. I think with everyone in there, it's going to be a very fun match. Very, very fun match. But I mean, we can all agree it's going to be Cena or Punk, right? I mean, who else would it make sense for?
In my head canon, it only makes sense for Punk.
Yeah.
Because
you really don't want to see that triple threat.
No, we're getting a triple threat.
Okay, well, you don't want to see the triple threat that was being rumored.
What
the Punk, Seth, and Roman one?
No, we're gonna get Cody, Punk, Cena.
Cody, Punk, Cena.
Cena's gonna take the Rock's deal.
I've seen a lot of people talk about that because Cena.
I think Punk is gonna win this, and Cody's gonna turn him down. Cena's gonna be runner up, and then like he's like either in the it could be a thing where it's like we see some fan footage or something after the show is over of Cena and Rock just hanging out, having a conversation in a back alley.
Are we really going to see a heel John Cena before he retires?
I don't think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be his thing that he had after the Rumble.
Yeah.
It's best for business if I'm in the main event.
Yeah.
And then
which is the most heel we've ever got out of him, let's be honest.
Which I don't see him winning the title at Mania.
Not yet, no.
And it could be like him having the realization afterwards. And like I was thinking about this, and I did see it on another podcast where they kind of pitched a similar idea of like John Cena having the realization after he doesn't win the title at Mania of like, what have I done to try to win this title? And then kind of like goes on a bit of a redemption reinvention phase to try to earn a shot through like the rest of the year.
See, that's been kind of my stance for a little bit with John, is that I feel like the story they're going to go for is they're going to go for the chase. They're not going to go for just go ahead and hand it to him and let him have fun. They're going to give him the chase.
Well, that's been his main talking point is I haven't won a match in like 6 years. So just keep having him not win matches.
Right.
And then like he goes through kind of his rediscovery phase, starts winning, starts like working his way up the card. And then I've pitched it before, very last day of the year, have him have a title match where he wins it.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is this: at some point this year, are we going to see where John Cena is on a Monday Night Raw or on a Friday Night SmackDown every week for a period of time?
I think so.
Because that's my whole thing with this whole retirement tour. Is that I was scared that he would do exactly what he's doing right now. I'm not saying it's maybe hopefully it's not for the rest of the year, but he'll show up like one Monday Night Raw or one Friday Night SmackDown. He'll make these causes. He'll may have one match, and then he won't have another match until the PLE, and it's going to kind of to where like he has 2 matches every 3 months, and next thing we know, oh well, no more John Cena.
Yeah.
See, well, I think he talked about like when he announced, or like in one of the press conferences when he announced his retirement tour. I think he said he was going to do like 20 or 30 appearances. And I think it's kind of just like leading up to Mania is kind of like, we know he's going to be there. We know he's going to be at these big, like the events leading up to it. So kind of save those dates to where he's at that point where he's like trying to earn the shot, chasing it. Yeah. I think we're going to, towards the middle and later part of the year, he's going to be on weekly TV, I think.
That's my personal opinion too. Because for someone like him who's very adamant, like this is it, like in having this farewell tour, I feel like after this whole, basically after Chamber, we're going to see a lot more John Cena. That's my personal take on it too. Now, okay, where do you guys think this whole Rock and Cody thing's going to go? First off, that was cringe as shit. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. I don't care what anyone says. It was cringe. But where do you guys think this is going to go? Like, what's the ultimate payoff here? Because I have the verdict of what I want to see. And I'm curious if you guys can relate or you guys have a different vision. So for me and Cody and his title and this whole Rock thing, I want one of 2 things to happen. Okay? I either want Cody to lose the title at Mania. Go ahead and end it there. Let's go ahead and start another run. Have Cody win it again later for a shorter run and stuff. Almost repeat how we've taken care of John Cena before, where he's only had a few long runs that lasted a year, almost a year. Or I want to see Cody's title run continue, but he turns down The Rock now, and then he goes full heel at Mania. And after Mania, it's heel Cody. I want one, and he keeps the title. That's what I want to see. But like, I mean, where is this gonna go? Like, who's gonna take the deal? Like, is it gonna be John? Is it gonna be Punk? Like, who's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's you guys' take?
First off, I want to start with it was definitely cringy. I think they could have done it a different way or delivered it a different way to where it was not so like, that's kind of weird. You know, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. In my opinion, I think not even talking about Cody. I think at the end of the day, some point this year, or maybe next WrestleMania, in New Orleans, we can maybe see a Roman and Rock kind of thing. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think regardless of the situation, that's what we're going to be leading up to at some point. It's got to happen, right? So
I don't think it's happening.
Oh, what, Roman Rock? Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, you messaged me that you already gave up on that one.
I've already kind of said I think Cody's gonna turn him down, and I think The Rock's gonna try to approach like multiple people. Like if Punk wins, he's gonna try to approach Punk, but Punk will probably just turn him down because he won't want anything to do with him. And then I think like I said, I think Cena is gonna make a deal with him to insert himself into the title match there. And then I don't know what's gonna happen with Rock after Cena doesn't win the title there. Like he may just disappear for 6 months again and then show up around SummerSlam or something.
Yeah.
And then and do something else there. I don't know.
I think also it has to tie into something with CM Punk's deal, right? I
His
think at
favor,
some point,
yeah.
yeah, I think some point his favor ties into WrestleMania. It
Yeah,
has to.
I've seen so many different things about it where like one person said that Punk's favor to Paul was to have Roman protect Punk from The Rock if The Rock tries some shit, if Punk's in the main event or something like that. I've seen that as one. I've seen one where Punk loses this and Punk uses the favor to get himself inserted into it. I've seen so many different things about that damn favor. Oh, and also in terms of Rock getting his champion, one thing that I saw, I think it was Santi was the one that pitched this, and I was like, that is actually be really interesting, and it'd be a completely unexpected one, is what if after Cody turns him down and after Mania settles, Rock's chosen champion, that he'll get into the championship spot and take the title and everything. What if it's Drew McIntyre? Because let's not forget, for whatever random reason, Rock made sure to put out an Instagram post congratulating Drew McIntyre and his contract extension, giving him like a fancy new sword and all that. There's a whole post about it. He hasn't done that for anybody else. And there's been a couple of the people that I know have said they've re-signed, but he sure as shit hadn't done that for anyone else. So what if it's Drew McIntyre? What if Drew McIntyre becomes the Rock's guy? We had that embrace of Drew and Cody like a week or two back, which I know they were once tag team champs together, but I'm just saying, what if it's Drew McIntyre?
Okay, I was thinking of something here, and it's a little convoluted, so you'll have to stay with me.
All right.
So, Punk wins this chamber match, and Cena takes like The Rock's deal or something. Mania comes around, and we got like the triple threat's going on, main event, everything. Rock's music hits, he comes out, he's trying to make sure that Cena wins that title as his champion.
Right.
Punk, it's like, and then like Paul Heyman and Roman come out. And it's like we all assume that say like, oh, Punk's called in his favors to make sure that there's no interference or that he has the best chance of winning this. Roman stops Rock from interfering, set up a Rock Roman match again there that way.
Yeah.
If we want to still try to go down that way, it's like they help him out with that. Punk ends up taking the title, and then like Roman goes to walk away, and like gestures for Paul Heyman to go with him, and Paul Heyman just like shakes his head, moves over to Punk's side. Favor is actually to take Paul Heyman back.
See, I think that's actually a possibility as well.
It's like it's a little bit like a little too many steps involved for it, but I think that could be the more interesting way to go.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I could agree to that too. Now, the branching storylines though out of the men's chamber match is really fascinating because it's like, look, where does Seth fit into the equation? Where does Punk fit? McIntyre, Priest. You know, everyone's been assuming it's gonna be a McIntyre Priest thing. A lot of people have been assuming Paul and Cena, which would be a fun match, but I hope that's not John Cena's last WrestleMania. But it'd be a fun match. We can all agree. I just, I'm excited. You know, the more that we talk about it, the more I'm getting excited for the show. So shout out to it be 2 days away. I was very, very lukewarm excited going into the show, and I'm actually pretty pumped for the possibilities because I think the main thing is that I think this show could be a little bit unpredictable, especially like the women's chamber match. I think that one could be very unpredictable, but I think even just the men's and the possible storylines to come out of it, I think it could be kind of interesting and unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean the outlier in the men's match is Logan Paul. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
He's just there to elevate the.
He's there to get bullied in the match.
He's there to get bullied, and he's there to draw on the chamber thing like he did last year, which was complete comedy gold. It was 10 out of 10. Where he drew like Kevin Owens, whatever, being like super fat with horns and stuff. It was hilarious.
Kevin sucks.
Yeah, like Logan's just there. Like, look, anytime Logan's in these matches, it's there to strictly just elevate it because he is good at what he does.
Because the reports are Priest and McIntyre at Mania, which I mean, whatever. You got a bit of a storyline there with like Priest cashing in on him at the previous Mania, and McIntyre could get his revenge here.
Right.
And it's like Seth Rollins. You could do a Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match, and then I'm putting Punk and Cena in my main event against Cody.
Mm-hmm.
So Logan Paul's just the one I don't know what's going on there. I can only assume that he'll do something with, I don't know, AJ Styles or something.
No, I want AJ and Braun, baby. I know I saw the Logan and AJ thing. I want AJ and Braun. That's what I want.
Well, the thing is, Logan's gonna he'll be on Mania, so it's like,
yeah, where does he fit in? Yeah,
where does he fit in? It's like the only place I see him fitting in is AJ.
Can we all agree a Logan AJ match though would be fire? Like,
Oh, it'd cook.
Dude, that'd be one of the best matches on the show, 100%. But I think AJ and Braun would cook too. But man, just the athletic ability of Logan and just all the the athletic abilities and the technical abilities that AJ brings, like, dude, that I mean, with the high flying abilities, imagine Logan doing a high fly move and going into a phenomenal forearm. Wouldn't that be sick? Like that I don't know. You're kind of getting me on board with a Logan AJ feud. You kind of get me on board with that. That'd be pretty sick.
I don't know if he'd be back in time. But this is just like a match that I just want to see. I want to see Braun Breaker going into a match against like a potential mystery opponent, and just Ilya Dragunov show up.
Man, I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping he comes back soon. I've been seeing reports that he's not far.
He's apparently he's been in the training center or the performance center, so he's working on like he's there. I want to see him come back. I want to see a trilogy of matches with him and Braun Breaker, and that culminates in him having the title so that he can be elevated up.
Right. Do you guys want to get into official picks real quick? Wrap up the show.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, unsanctioned match. What's your official prediction? Who's going to win? I got KO. KO and Randy's back.
Who I want to win is Sami Zayn, just because, right, he's the baby on this situation.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of Kevin Owens right now, of course, due to the storyline. But I think to increase the storyline, I think it will be Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin. I think Kevin Owens has to win because he's he's done nothing but lose, and he's been one of the better things on TV.
Right.
In my opinion.
All right, tag match, pretty straightforward. Tiffany Stratton, Trish Stratus versus Nia and Candice. I mean, it's Tiffy time and Trishy time, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's no way in hell Tiffany and Trish lose this match.
This match is for Trish up front. That's what it's for.
This is just getting Tiffany and Trish in there to just have some fun and pop the crowd.
Yep, that's all it's for. So easy one there. All right, official pick for the women's elimination chamber. Who are you officially locking in that's going to win?
I'm going to officially lock in Liv Morgan.
Ah, my brother.
I want Roxanne Perez to win.
She's
probably going to win, but I'm going to officially lock in Liv Morgan.
I'm going to manifest it. My official pick is Roxanne Perez.
And I will, just to keep things interesting, I'll go a different way than both of you.
Ooh.
I'll go Bianca Belair.
Oh.
That was.
I'll go Bianca Belair because of this. I think at some point Jade will come back.
Yeah.
And I think Jade will have issues with both Naomi, of course, and Bianca. And with Bianca being in that spot now, Jade's like, well, that should have been my spot because if you didn't let Naomi do this to me and yada yada yada, and y'all didn't, all this, I think there could be maybe a triple threat for the women's because Jade could kind of insert herself in there because it's like hey, this should have been me. That should have been me when you did this. That should have been me type thing. So
yeah,
I'm going Bianca Belair.
Oh man,
honestly, I didn't think about it before the show, but I kind of want to see a Belt Collector live now.
It's really in your brain now, isn't it?
I mentioned it earlier. Yeah. Like it's kind of stuck in my head now because I like Liv Morgan's character right now.
Yeah.
I think her title run was terrible due to WWE not knowing what to do with Rhea out. But I think if she has the title in a non-Rhea Ripley related story, I think it could be really good.
Right. Especially if you get Raquel even a shot at it, maybe they turn against each other. It could be interesting.
Yeah, could be fun.
Yeah. All right, men's chamber. What's your official picks? Who's winning? This is a toughie. Truthfully, it is. I'm gonna go CM Punk, and I'm gonna go with CM Punk for the main reason is I think the one and only thing that Punk asked for with his contract is just let me main event Mania one time. And he didn't get in. He was going to be a main event last year. A lot of things had to pivot last year. A lot of things also changed quite a bit last year. And I think he was going to be one of the main event matches with Seth. They've even talked about that match was going to happen. Whatever. Yeah. I think it's going to be, hey, Punk, we're going to give you what you deserve and give you what you want. You're going to main event Mania. So I think you put Punk into it. I think you can open up so many other story possibilities where it's worthy of like a night 2 main event of, with Paul Heyman and the favor, he sides with Punk, Roman's involved, Rock gets involved. Like, I think Punk and Cody as the night 2 headliner, I think is a worthy night 2 headliner because of the other stories associated with it.
I'm going to say one of two people.
Gotta make a
pick. Neither of them are John Cena because I do agree with John. I think the only way John Cena gets into main event is because he becomes The Rock's guy. I like that storyline. I can see it happening. So I'm saying since you went with CM Punk, I'm gonna go with the other guy because I think CM Punk's one of the people that will win it. Other one is I'm gonna go with Seth freaking Rollins.
John.
I legitimately was gonna say Seth Rollins,
Ah,
but
okay.
because like earlier, I've got what I think should happen with Punk winning, and that I kind of wanted to put Seth in there as a bit of a different pick because honestly, Seth's best work recently has been him talking to Cody.
Yeah.
So it's like you could have a storyline there. And if Punk's not gonna be in the main event against Cody, what other match would I want to see him? I'd want to see him against Roman.
Mhm.
I do want to be a little different on the picks here, so we're not all picking the same person for this, which is unfortunate.
I mean, I can very well switch my pick back to Punk because I honestly think Punk is gonna win this.
There is a non-zero chance that this could happen. I'm gonna say Logan Paul.
No, come on.
Now I will switch my pick just for you to not pick Logan.
There's a non-zero chance because there are some reports as well, like you mentioned earlier, where they were talking Logan Paul, Cena. If we're all expecting Cena to be in the main event, regardless of what happens, you could put Logan Paul into that spot as well. Because then you wouldn't. At that point, Logan Paul's not winning. It gives a more believable chance that John Cena could take the title. I don't think it's going to happen, but
also,
on the show as well, I've liked to throw some oddball picks
You
out there.
have.
Hell, I
Yeah.
picked Solo Sikoa to dethrone Cody at one point.
You did.
So yeah, I'll lock it in. I don't think it's gonna happen, but
Logan Paul. I thought you were about to say at least if you're gonna do an oddball, at least do Damian Priest. Come on now. That poor guy.
He is not WWE champion.
That poor guy. Like
the problem is, it's the same problem I have with the damn Gunther reign right now. By the time Damian Priest got interesting, they took the belt off him.
yeah, I know. That Damian Priest is by far the biggest oddball in this match because it's like I know people say, "What about Logan?" Logan is a hilarious over the top attraction for these style of matches. That makes sense. Damian with all this cast is like, man, what a what a cast.
Also, like Logan doesn't wrestle on a weekly TV, so when he does get matches, they're the bigger matches.
Yeah.
So he has a lot more time to prepare and practice for it.
Yeah.
So he looks phenomenal whenever he is in one of these.
Yeah, and I think his like two most recent botches have kind of hurt him in in his prior big matches when I know he had one botch where he like stepped on somebody or didn't catch them or something like that. He had another major botch recently too, and I think that's kind of hurt him in his ability to be on weekly television. But no, I agree. I honestly I don't see any kind of storyline where Logan, Drew, or Damian wins it.
Unless Drew becomes The Rock's guy. No, that's going to be an after Mania potential. Or Seth Rollins could become The Rock's guy because Rock did call him the MVP of WrestleMania, which he was.
Well, also, the thing is, I wouldn't put Drew as winning this because Drew's goal right now isn't to win the title.
Right.
His goal is to defeat Roman Reigns.
That's fair.
And I think, and I'm going with Seth Rollins because also, John, I'm piggybacking off of you as well. Again, I think there will be a multi-person WWE main event for WrestleMania, but instead of a triple threat, I think it'll be a fatal four-way.
Shout out to when that used to be a pay-per-view, by the way. I meant to shout that out earlier. You guys remember that? Where Fatal 4-Way was a standalone pay-per-view? What a weird time. Any sort of stipulation you could think of, it's gonna have a pay-per-view.
Wasn't the Iron Man a PLE too at one point?
It might have been. I know Fatal 4-Way was one. You had Extreme Rules. Remember that? That was a pay-per-view because that was the the first Brock Lesnar match back, where he beat, or John Cena beat Brock Lesnar, which made no sense at the time. Yeah, so I mean, shout out to that. Oh, Extreme Rules. That's a pay-per-view that could potentially come back. Ooh, that's one to think about.
You couldn't call it Extreme Rules anymore. You had to call it like Bloodline Rules or something.
Oh, right. Bloodline Rules.
Too many damn
Rules. Yeah.
I mean, but let's
too many names for a hardcore match or an Extreme Rules match.
I mean, let's be honest. You really only have two kind of matches. You have a regular match, or you have what would be called like an Extreme Rules or no limit match or an unsanctioned match. Like, it's really all the same stuff. It's just a match with no rules.
Yeah. Well,
it's like
the only difference is if there's like an additional gimmick on top of it, like a ladder match or like a cage or something. But yeah, for the most part, it's that they're all the exact same. They just have too many damn names for it.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going Fatal 4-Way. Seth Rollins wins it, and somehow Punk and Cena gets in there as well.
And just have one big party.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, let's wrap up the show, boys. I think we had a good show, a lot of good conversation. I'll make sure to timestamp it. Boys, last thoughts on stuff. We'll close out of this in beautiful fashion.
Does anybody know what our looks were for Rumble as far as like?
I think 6:30 our time.
Well, I'm talking about for like what our records were for guessing the Rumble.
No. When I have some free time here, hopefully soon, I'll do some backtracking and find out, and I'll send it in the Discord. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. No. It'll be an interesting show. Not going to be my most excited show recently for it, but still should get some fun out of it. It'll make for an interesting like road to Mania.
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is going to set up. I think it's going to be a good show, but I think the storylines branch in between the matches and what's going to lead into the Monday night after and the Friday night after is going to be more interesting than the matches itself. But that's part of it, right? We're looking into this PLE because it's going to set up so much in the coming weeks. So
yeah, I think the branching storylines is what's going to fascinate me the most. So it'll be a good show. Can't wait for it. Drop your predictions down in the comments below and let us know how terrible some of our takes are, including our conversation about the Elimination Chamber. If you made it this far, we appreciate the hell out of you. Make sure to check out our Patreon if you want to support the brand further. Shout out to our Tier 2 patron handler. We appreciate you. And join the Discord. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Check out some Rogue Energy and Agent Ink at Sparky3shop.com as well. Goodbye.